What was the story or the vision behind? I think you mentioned small producer and quality producer, but can you give us some examples of the producers you work with or the regions and the vision you have, even moving forward? What's the vision with the way you see importing Italian wines?
Yeah, absolutely. The idea was always to share the kind of Italian wines that I was passionate about, like the unique small production of wine, that the real stories behind the wines that they make actually. I wasn't interested in the big commercial stuff. I just wanted to find and felt personal with these small producers and be like family with them also. So that made it really interesting.
Welcome to this special Clubhouse session of the Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as members of the Italian wine community engage in fascinating conversations about contemporary wine topics. If you enjoyed the show, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com and remember to subscribe and rate the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your pods.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of our Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner. And today we are joined by Mihai Popescu. He's our fellow Italian wine ambassador from Canada. And today he's going to interview Charlie Iacono of Iaco-Vino Wines and Spirits from Canada. So welcome, guys. Welcome, Mihai, and welcome, Charlie. I hope you're doing well.
Thank you. Yes, we're doing well. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yes, it's a nice opportunity to talk about Italian wines and talk about Italian wines here in Canada.
Okay, and thank you guys both for finding time. Actually, this recording is happening in 3 different countries. So Canada, Italy, and Kazakhstan. So by the way, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Rosa. My name is Rosa Jarmukhambetova, a very long family name which our colleagues in office still cannot remember. So now let's move on. First of all, I would like to introduce Mihai for those of you who don't know him yet. So Mihai Popescu, he is our fellow Italian wine ambassador. He's based in Canada. He's a wine expert dedicated to helping producers enter and thrive in the Canadian market. He holds WSET Diploma, and he is also an international wine judge who supports wineries with strategic brand positioning, market access, and distribution. Mihai also organizes professional tasting events, attends major trade shows, and creates tailored marketing plans to boost visibility and sales for the wineries. He's active on Instagram and social media, and in the show notes to these episodes, we are going to share with you how you can reach him. So he also reviews and promotes wines, mainly Italian, to an engaged audience of wine lovers, professionals, blending digital influence with in-market expertise. So again, welcome, Mihai. And before we start, I would like to ask you 3 questions. Those are our 3 ritual questions. First of all, how did you meet Charlie? And how did it start to you both?
The first time I met Charlie, I was invited to one of his portfolio tastings, and I was really impressed with the nice selection of Italian wines he was offering and how dedicated he was to promoting the wines, to talking about wines. And I think he was one of the first person to spark a lot of interest from my side on Italian wines.
Okay, that's very interesting. And could you tell us why did you choose to interview Charlie for this Clubhouse session?
So I know Charlie for a few years now, maybe more than 5, probably almost 10. And I think I see him often at trade shows, and I see his dedication and knowledge about Italian wines, and that's he's solely focused a lot on importing Italian wines. And also, let's not forget he has a lot of expertise in the restaurant and import business of Italian restaurant and import business. So I think he's a great person to give us the insights and what's going on the Canadian market with Italian wines.
Okay, got it. And I really think that is going to be a very timely conversation regarding what is going on in the global wine market. So thank you for inviting Charlie. And the last question from me to you would be, what are the learning objectives that we should expect from this interview? What we're going to learn today?
I hope we can cover everything. So, the main points would be the role of Italian wines on the Canadian market, the trends and demands of the market, what's going on at this moment, a few strategies for Italian wine producers that want to be on the Canadian market, especially with the monopolies. And obviously, we're going to talk about the USA tariffs and how it can be opportunistic for the Italian producer because there is a lot of changes going on because of these tariffs. And I think there could be some opportunities for the Italian wine producers.
Great. And I really think that it's going to be a very insightful and practical conversation for all our listeners. So it's time for me now to mute myself, and I'm going to give the mic to Mihai. So enjoy.
Thank you, Rosa. And I hope it will be interesting for everybody because we're going to cover a few nice topics. Thank you, Charlie, for taking your time to answer the questions, to be here. And we'll start a bit slowly. I would like to know, tell us a bit about your personal journey into the wine industry and how you came to focus only on Italian wines and importing Italian wines in Canada.
Yeah, hi, Mihai. Yes, absolutely. Listen, I spent over 30 years running a well-known Italian restaurant in Montreal, which with a wine cellar of over 25,000 bottles, strictly Italian wines. And over the years, I built strong ties with these producers that used to come to my restaurant, and I used to appreciate their stories and the people behind their wines. When my health made it tough to stay in the restaurant world, I knew I wasn't done with the wine. So I launched an importing company called Iaco-Vino, focused on Italian wines that I know and love so much. Now I get to share the passion across Quebec, bringing in unique small producers that well deserve a place on their table.
What was the story or the vision behind? I think you mentioned small producer and quality producer, but can you give us some examples of the producers you work with or the regions and the vision you have, even moving forward? What's the vision with the way you see importing Italian wines?
Yeah, absolutely. The idea was always to share the kind of Italian wines that I was passionate about, like the unique small production of wine that the real stories behind the wines that they make actually. I wasn't interested in the big commercial stuff. I just wanted to find and felt personal with these small producers and be like family with them also. So that made it really, really interesting. Over the time, the business naturally evolved. I started with just a few producers, and now I worked with wineries all over Italy. A lot of them have become friends and feel like family actually. So we actually call each other to see how we're doing, how things are going, and how production is doing. It's growing beyond importing too also. So we go see them, they come and see us. And that's what's creating an experience through the tastings that they have. And also we have a wine club that we make our members try their different wines that we have. So it makes it really interesting.
Do you sometimes bring producer in from Italy? Do you have any strategies to promote that are a bit different or outside the box, thinking of the new Gen Zs, for example? I mean, you talked about the wine club, but do you have a vision where moving forward where you can approach the younger generation with that?
Absolutely. I usually invite my wine producers, especially the small ones that I think that are fantastic, amazing. I invite them. We do events. We do like wine tastings. I do shows also with these wine producers also, like wine shows that people come and they try, and a lot of them get great feedbacks. I enjoy doing what I do, and I enjoy telling people the story behind, and I enjoy also introducing these wine producers to my clients, my restaurateurs, my private people. So that's where I'm at right now.
Overall, where do you think the role of Italian wine? What's the role of Italian wines currently play on the Canadian market, both in volume, perception, market shares? We all know it's the monopolies, but if you have an idea a bit of how big is the market, how much they represent, any movement on it's do they increase? Do they sell more compared to the last few years?
Yeah, I think Italian wines play a major role in the Canadian market. They actually some of the top imported wines by volume, with a strong market of 20%. Like they have a 20% market in Canada. In the Quebec SAQ reports that the Italian wines make up 23% of all their sales, just behind France, which they have like 30 35% that they sell. Consumers are increasingly drawn to Italian wines for their quality, variety, and authenticity. Like Prosecco and organic options are especially gaining popularity. Sparkling wines, particularly Prosecco. Lately, monthly sparkling wine drinkers have grown by year 1.8 million cases on sales. As for restaurants, they're growing demand for premium Italian wines like Barolos, Brunellos, Chianti Classicos. Those are the strong wines that have really gone big. I've seen a shift in Italian wines. Used to be seen as a special occasion thing to drink, but now it became part of everyday life. People enjoy it casually, whether it's dinner or a get together, just relaxing. It's less than about luxury and more about having a good time with friends and enjoying a great glass of wine.
I think those are very great news. I just wanted to add something for the listeners. Here in Quebec, it's a monopoly, or also in Ontario, each province has a monopoly. Here we have SAQ, and just to give some market perspective, it's around $4 billion of sales they do per year, and 70% is wine, of which, like Charlie said, 22 to almost 23% of the sales are Italian wine. So I think it's a great market only in our province for Italian wines, and I see it, as you said, it's increasing, and people, they love to travel to Italy, they like to discover wines, and once they travel they like to keep drinking the Italian wines. The next question would be, are there any, for you as an important, do you see any specific regions or variety that are gaining traction, some maybe your consumers, or some less known regions that now are becoming popular?
Yes, of course. Sicily, that's where my parents come from. They're getting a lot of buzz, especially with their Nero d'Avolos and the Grillos and the Cataratos that are easy to enjoy. Negramaro from Puglia, which I import also, which is one of my favorites. Really, really great. And from the north, Ribolla Gialla, which was a wine that was forgotten about and now making a comeback. It is really, really a great wine. It's crisp, nice fruit flavors to it, easy to enjoy. Piemonte, of course, they have their Nebbiolos with Barolos and Barbarescos. And Tuscany, yes, Tuscany is Tuscany, right? So there's Sangiovese to do the Chiantis and the Brunellos. Especially that's a favorite of a lot of people that enjoy that. And the Prosecco, which is made with Glera grapes, is super popular right now. Amarone from Veneto, that's what people like when they like something really bold and robust. That's a good wine to enjoy also.
Have you seen any shifts towards more natural, organic, or this type of approach in winemaking? And as you mentioned, some lesser known region like from the north, like the Ribolla Gialla, but anything else that you have seen going on in the market?
Yes, I see here in the Quebec market, a lot of people are concerned about if it's organic because they read too much about having too much pesticides being put on and doing whatever. So yes, a lot of my importers or a lot of my producers are actually organic, natural. They don't filter some of the wines, so they make it as natural as possible. I'm a sufferer of migraines, so I tend to go towards those type of wines. And also, it's important for them to know how much sugar is involved in their bottles of wine. So everybody's into this, the amount of sugar per liter there is inside the wine. So yeah, I tend to look at that. We're not going to go with an Amarone. With Amarone, there's 17% sugar to the bottle. We'll go more like a Brunello or Barolo, which is less than 2 grams of sugar per liter. So that's what people are looking at right now.
So I guess the market is ready to discover new regions, new grapes, more also the organic, it's encouraged. Any price points, that are doing better at this moment? You mentioned for restaurant, maybe it's the premium wines, but for the wholesale or, the stores like the monopoly stores, what do you think is doing better at this moment?
Yeah, I think people like price per the quality that they get also. So I try to get them a good deal all the time. Listen, I'm here to not to go and not make money, right? Everyone's here to make money, but I want them to enjoy the type of wines that I bring also. These wines are not expensive. I can import some wines that are very expensive. The most expensive wine that I have is $120 that I sell to the restaurateurs. The least expensive wine that I have is $14. But a $14 bottle of wine is more for everyday cooking. I mean, everyday drinking. Have a glass of wine here, have a glass of wine there. I mean, and it's also not very high in sugar. It's 2 grams of sugar. It's not organic, but it's a great one. It's a Tuscan wine. It's great to drink. Everyone enjoys that.
And that's very good to hear because, as we know, we need to democratize the wine drinking and have to be more accessible, especially for the younger generation, with always the price rising. So it's good to hear that the importers like you try to find also products that are interesting and price point great value. And it's leading me to the next questions. What qualities or strategies should Italian wine producer have to stand out for the buyers or importers like you or for the sommeliers so they can get more attention on the Canadian market?
Yes, I understand. For one, authenticity is key, right? Canadian buyers love producers who stay true to their roots. Family run original, they're hands on, with real sense of tradition. It makes it feel like the wine is special. Two, quality over hype. It's not over flashy labels, it's what is made inside the wine, right? What is delivered to your glass of wine. That's what I find. The practices that they have also is being open on how wine is made. They like to talk about how it's done, how it's made, traditional method, organic, low intervention. That's the way it is. And people also like a great story behind it, right? They like to understand how they started, which ancestor went through it, how it became to be what you're doing now. Then, of course, like you said, great value. Everyday drinking wine has got to be a good wine, right? It's got to be. I have Barolos that are not too expensive. I have Brunellos that are not too expensive. But I had to go out to Italy and go out and find and search these guys and meet up with them and struck a deal with these guys. Also, consistency. They have to always have their style of wines and make sure that it stays true to what they do and stays true to how I sell it, right? It's got to be great. It's got to be fantastic. People have to love the flavors of what I'm giving them. And being a good partner with them is awesome. Like the producers who are easy to work with, I like that. I really do. I need to support them and they need to support us also. So that's what really stands out for me in doing all of this.
Do you think, so you were talking and you work a lot with these small producers. Do you see any challenges that they face a lot here on the to enter or to stay on the Canadian market? Because sometimes, the wines they show up with the monopoly, but then after a few imports they disappear. So I mean, for sure there's challenges that they face.
Absolutely. Listen, the challenges are there, right? There's the taxes, the markups, import costs. All the costs can push prices up. Also, they need to stand out. There's a tough competition with many wines on the market. It's hard for smaller names to get noticed. It's complicated also. Like the regions have a complication. Each province has its own rules, which can be tricky to negative, especially for the producers that are unfamiliar to the system. And finding the right partner, right? Finding the committed importer like I myself is key. Without one, it's nearly impossible to build an awareness connection with the right audience. As for Quebec, SAQ system. Quebec is a controlled market. So all of the wine goes through the SAQ. They're like, as we say, the mafia of the wines and liquor, right? So SAQ can be a long and complex process, especially for small producers trying to get listed. French language is required. All the labels have to meet French criteria, right, to make sure that everything works out for them. And SAQ only allows private importers to sell by the case. So I usually bring them in by cases of 12. So if I have to sell it, let's say you are as a private person, I want to sell you a case, you have to buy 12 bottles. I can't sell you one bottle, I can't sell you two bottles, you have to buy 12 bottles. That's what makes it a little bit more difficult for us agents.
I mean, those are very important challenges, but that gives a bit of opportunity for the producers to learn that it's important to have the right agent that understands your product and knows how to sell it here on the Canadian market and not to be discouraged by the ICQ. What do you think on the role of the agent would be and to explain a bit to the Italian producers or anybody that's interested in doing business here, especially with the SAQ or the LCBO in Ontario?
Well, honestly, all the global trade drama have helped Italian winemakers to make it an impression here. throughout Canada, right? Rather is LCBO or SAQ. With no U.S. wines on the shelves on the SAQ or LCBO, it's a plus for us. It's a win-win for us, actually. So we're getting to expose more of our products to the restaurateurs and to the people. Italian wines are to step in right now. Great quality, tons of variety, and no trade barriers with Canada. Like I said, it was a win-win situation on that. For the Italian producers, Canada has become a solid, welcoming market, especially when things are more uncertain elsewhere.
I just wanted to mention to everybody that's listening, since the trade tariffs in Canada, most of the provinces, the monopolies have taken out the USA wines from the shelves. So that's why Charlie was mentioning that there's opportunities because these shelves are empty and now it gives opportunity to other countries to take off that space. Also, they're encouraging Canadian wines, but I think to replace some American wines, you would need something that's similar from Italy or sometimes what the consumers look for. So, Charlie, do you see any differences since I think it was March that they took off the wines from USA? And did you see any differences in your market share or if you see more demand for your products?
Yeah, for sure. Ever since the U.S. imposed tariffs with the policy, it impacts how wine moves across the borders, right? So, and Canada felt that a lot. We felt that our buyers are more interested in buying higher end wines for that reason because they were buying big cabs, big Merlots from the United States. And we came about now doing big Barolos, big Brunellos, or big Super Tuscans that people are more interested into it. Also, that opened the door for us, the Italians, and other European countries, right? Wines to gain more visibility, and the Canadian consumers are responding. They're exploring new regions, trying new grapes, and have considered before and not realizing the amazing value that you get on the usual suspect.
Did you see any effects for let's say, for your partners from Italy, like the producers? Do you see that they're ready to be more involved on the Canadian market, to be more price competitive since they're unsure of what's going on with the USA market and they have volumes to sell? Do you think you have more flexibility in pricing or imports or budgets here to do events or to promote the wines?
Well, yes, like I said, I need to find the right partner and the right producer. I understand the provinces by province system. I try to deal with these guys and make it possible to bring their stuff in, to introduce new products that they have. Finding the right partner is key right now. It all starts with the importer ourselves, right? I being an importer and trying to find the right producer and the right wines that they make. Understanding them also is key too. They're finding it difficult because they're not importing their wines in the States anymore. So we're helping them to try to bring more stuff here to our country and our provinces. Making the story stand out is key right now. Customers love authenticity. Share your vineyards to your family history, your passion. I have a true passion for wines. Like I said, I was a restaurateur and really met a lot of these guys. And when I went back to Italy, they all recognized me and they all were impressed. And a lot of them wanted me to become their wine producers. So that was a pretty good feeling that I had. And that's it.
And before I have one more question, and actually two more questions. Uh, any advice you would give to the producer? But let's say I would start with, like you mentioned, finding the right person, the importer that knows exactly the rules, the ways to go with the monopolies, and to understand all the regulations, but also to understand how they can apply for tenders or how they can sell inside the monopoly store, which is a big market for the Italian wines.
Yeah, for sure. My producers want to get on the shelves. I find I'm not a big company. I'm a company with two working, right? My wife and myself. So she does all the back end, she does everything else, and I do all the sales, and all the ordering of the wines and everything. So, yeah, I think it's important that the producers want to know about the tenders and how to do it and the way to get it. Well, they have to do. I tell them what to put out, and they do the tenders. That insists of them getting their wines on the SAQ shelves or the LCBO shelves, as they say. I would try to make it interesting for us. And besides that, doing the orders and making it simple for them, I'll take care of that. Then they just have to accept the order. When I make the order, I just tell them how to make sure that the labels are conformed with the Quebec laws, and the rest is history.
Before you go, we had a question in the room chat, and Bev Bourdin was saying Canada has been a global leader import volume of Venetos, Valpolicella, and Amarone. And did you see, you personally as an importer, any changes in the affinity of these wines in the past years? Also, because the what's happening with the tariffs, maybe the Amarone could replace some of the American wines.
Yeah, for sure. Amarone is one of my favorite wines. Well, they have also Valpolicellas. They do Ripassos. They do white wines also. They do Ricciottos. So in that area, I have a great producer which is called Venturini. These guys are family run. They work the fields. They get dirty. They get to see what's going on. They have about 50 hectares of land, and they're out there picking and drying their grapes and doing whatever they have to do. On my behalf, yes, I've seen a growth on the sales of Amarone. I've seen a growth on the sales of Valpolicella, and I've seen a growth on the sales of Ripasso. The Ripasso has been always on the rise. Amarone, it took a little bit of time, but it's now recognized. People are really enjoying the Amarone. But the Valpolicella has become the everyday drinking for the people that really enjoy wine. It's an easy drinking wine. It's smooth. It's very fruitful. It has a lot of flavors to it. And yeah, and I see that it's really getting up there.
And we still had another question. You mentioned before, the question was, do you import any Sicilian wines? And I'm gonna add something a bit to this question. Knowing the trends that are going on now with the monopoly, they're pushing for a lighter red, and obviously sparkling wines and white wines are increasing. Do you have anything in mind that you're looking for in the next 6 months to a year? Any producer, any regions, any grapes that you're eyeing or trying to bring new on the market?
Yes, I do have a wine that I import from Sicily. This is called Posente. These guys are natural, organic, unfiltered wines. Their wines are fabulous. Their grapes are amazing. The Grillo is a unique grape from Sicily. The Catarato is a unique grape from Sicily. And the Nero d'Avola is a unique grape from Sicily also. The Nero d'Avola as a red wine is a full body type of wine because the sun there is too powerful. Catarato is a nice apricot flavor, peach, crisp wine, easy to drink. Grillo is a complex, full body wine as a white wine. It's really, really great. Really enjoy their wines. And I also started with their orange wine that they started doing, which is called Cinque Inverni, which is 5 winters. These wines are amazing. It's made with Catarato, so it's really full body, also really nice. And they give it out after they sell it after 5 years that it's been in barrels.
That's great to know. And anything more like light reds from Sicily or any other regions from Italy that you have in the portfolio or you think of bringing to answer to these new trends, the market demands?
Yes, actually, I'm actually looking for a producer that's from Sardinia. I wouldn't mind trying their Cananao wines. They're usually lighter, easier to drink wines. It's got a lot of character, but I enjoy those style of wines. So my next step is to go out there and try to find the right little vineyard that I could import and impress the Quebec market and give them a story on their behalf. So yeah, Sardinia is my next stop to go do that right there.
I know you're a busy person, and I'm gonna leave you with one more question. Before we say goodbye, I would just like to have one last, maybe a suggestion for any wine producer from Italy that likes to step into the Canadian market, or any young people, sommeliers that would like to get into the import business. We had a question in the group. So, any advice you would give first to an Italian winemaker that would like to come to the Canadian market, and then maybe for young people that would like to start their import business?
Absolutely. For a wine producer that would like to branch out to the Canadian market, it would be great to find the right agent, the one that's gonna push your product, the one that's gonna make you believe that your product is the one that's supposed to be there. So yeah, the agent is the key for the Canadian producers. For young people that want to become an agent, it's a tough world out there. You have to hustle. You got to work every day. You got to know your stuff. You got to know people. You got to go out and make the restaurants, make the people, show the people what you have, and that's the way it is. I mean, it's a great career. It's fun, but it's also costly. So you got to make sure that you get there. You got to make sure that you have your move, you have your energy to go out and actually sell these wines and show them what you have and make people taste what you have.
Thank you so much for all the insights, and thanks for taking your time to explain a lot of the stuff that's going on. Maybe didn't cover most of it because it's a very complex market, but it gives an idea on what's going on, the interest for the Canadian wines and for the Canadian market. Sorry. And to understand that Canada is here to stay as a market, and it has a free trade with Europe. And I think there's a lot of opportunities at this moment.
Absolutely, I think there is a lot of opportunities, and yeah, the free trade helps a lot. So it works with that.
Thank you. And
Okay.
thank you, Rosa, for this opportunity.
Thank
Okay,
you,
first
thank
of
you.
all, thank you a lot. I think this is not going to be just insightful to the listeners and also to the wineries, but I think also to the wine professionals. For me, it was super exciting to listen to that conversation because I didn't know, for example, that Canada was a monopoly, and now I'm kind of searching for the information, how it is in different provinces, how the system works. That was really interesting conversation, and we really hope that Italian wineries will use this opportunity to learn about Canadian market a little bit more, and also especially some producers from Sardinia will listen to this conversation too.
That's
All right.
great.
Okay, it's time for us to wrap it up. Thank you again both for your time, and we're going to see our listeners in another Clubhouse episode next week. So thank you, Mihai. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rosa.
Rosa. Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good
Goodbye.
day. Bye, goodbye.
Ciao.
Grazie.
Grazie, ciao.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.